The sun moves round and the leaves are turning, changing colour and dropping from the trees. Autumn is upon us. The days are shorter and we think of more cosy activities, making things that are going to keep us warm in the winter. The garden is still full of colour though, and it's wonderful to capture the colours and the shapes of falling leaves and the last of the roses. Autumn captured in watercolour, and autumn captured in threads. My little sampler, Mon Jardin en Automne, celebrates this time of the year, this special season, a season of mists and gentle fruitfulness. The colours are vibrant as the air is sharp with frost. And so I welcome you to this program and an invitation for you, for my subscribers, old and new. At home, fireside and fairytale. Invites you to afternoon tea. But first, let's go to the kitchen and bake pancakes. Sift 8 ounces of plain flour in a bowl. I use baking powder, 4 teaspoons. And stir in 1 ounce of sugar, or a little bit more if you have a sweet tooth. Add a teaspoon of white wine vinegar to a cup of milk to make it sour. And stir in the milk and a large egg, and then mix well into a batter. I prefer to mix with a wooden spoon. You may like to use a mixer if you want a smoother batter. Pancakes can be eaten hot, just once you've cooked them, or leave them to be cold and you can fry them with bacon. That's rather nice. If you want savoury pancakes, then leave out the sugar and add a pinch of salt. Some people call these drop scones, but I've always known them as pancakes. So we use sugar and flour, an egg, milk, baking powder, and white wine vinegar. Here's the griddle. Heat the griddle and drop a mixture of the batter on to test if it's warm enough. These are quite large pancakes. You can make smaller ones, of course. And when they're brown on one side, the batter will bubble up. Then flip them over to cook on the other side. Over it goes. Pat it down. Doesn't take very long, and there you are, a plate full of pancakes ready to eat. So an autumn bouquet gathered from my garden, so colourful. Mon jardin en automne. And here is a little sampler that I made, inspired by the autumn colours with little birds, which I've called Mon jardin en automne. Here it is. I've used a traditional flower, and another sampler chart is moonshine pumpkins. Now you may know Tasha Tudor's Pumpkin Moonshine story. This was one of her very early books. It's almost Halloween, and little Sylvie Ann has found the biggest, fattest pumpkin. But before she can carve it into a giant, crooked-toothed pumpkin moonshine, or jack-o'-lantern, she has to get it home. And this is the story that Tasha Tudor wrote, based rather in the format of Beatrix Potter, I think. One picture on one side and a text on the other, about Sylvie Ann and this big pumpkin that ran away from her. In my childhood, we didn't have pumpkins where I live in Scotland. We used turnips, and I can still remember the smell of the candle in the turnip. It was a particularly smoky smell on Halloween, to light up the dark nights. And so I made some pumpkins and embroidered them. They're quite easy to make from a circle of fabric. And I wanted to embroider them with flowers. These could be pin cushions if you wanted. And I'll show you quickly how to do those petals. Take the needle and put it partially through the fabric, and then take the thread and wind it maybe 8, 10 or 12 times round the end of the needle. This is quite fiddly, so be patient, but it's worth it. Round the thread goes, and you hold the needle firmly with your thumb. and then hold that twisted thread and pull the needle and the other thread through, and you're left with this squiggly petal. They're great fun to make and don't take very long at all, and they're really effective. I did the inner flower in one colour and then the outer petals in a contrasting flower, in a contrasting colour. And that's a present for someone. And here is my sampler Moonshine Pumpkins. Now on to stash. I sent to 123 Stitch, and they posted very quickly linen opal, which I'm very, very pleased to have. It's absolutely beautiful. I've also bought All Joys for Thine, Blackbird Designs, but I think I'll change the text. I'll make it All Joys Be Thine. I'm going to use a Fibre and a Whim 32 count wheat for this. Most of the classic Colourworks colours as called for. There are a couple of weeks dye works there as well. They're very beautiful. But I added Old Hickory from Simply Shaker. Here is my friend's house that I've been working on. Again, Blackbird Designs. I've been so busy that not much has been done, and I'm choosing a very bright fabric called Brash and very bright DMC thread to go. And I'm making the houses different colours, one red and one green. And I have been working on Blackbird Designs again. Winter is past. Getting on quite a great deal with this one. I'm pleased with it. The border is definitely almost finished. And I have some motifs, a bird, and I even started the alphabet, but I will be wanting to complete those tulips. And then I came across a chart that may not finish, may not even begin, but is for old time's sake. I did start it years and years ago, and this reminds me of my sister and myself, and it's a great deal of work, so I'll just see if I even begin it, but it's in my stash. Now let's go on to patchwork. My homily quilt. Yes, I think I've added 1.5 more rows, so slow going, but I'm really enjoying this, using my EPP without the P method, which is much quicker. I've completed that basket, knitting basket cover in the hexagon quilting, and that takes me on to my actual knitting, and I have been using socks from around Norway by Nina Granslother, and I am enjoying this very, very much. The colour knitting and pattern I actually wanted, because I saw it on The Witches, Roald Dahl, my favourite children's author, film, and the grandmother knits socks, Norwegian socks, in blue and white. These are red and white. There's the star toe, and just loving this. Also another patchwork piece finished, the coffee cozy. Very pleased with that one, pieced as a pattern. And the final hexagon patchwork, the thread keeper with the birds in red work. That's my latest addition and my latest design. And so here we are for our afternoon tea. And I'm sure we're ready for it, aren't we? Curled butter, bon maman, black cherry conserve, and pancakes. I think it's black cherry compote actually. And a little napkin to, no, it is conserve. The china is Haddon Hall by Minton. And I was pleased to find an Irish linen napkin which also has a little crewelwork cornflower on it, I think, dianthus, to match. I put the milk in first, some people put their milk in afterwards, butter curls and my fancy teapot, which is great fun. So off we go with a well-earned cup of tea. Pancake and black cherry conserve, delicious. So it's been a busy autumn for me, very productive, most enjoyable, so much variety, so many things to make and enjoy. An autumn bouquet. And the autumn leaves captured in watercolour is a lovely reminder of autumn 2023. My moonshine pumpkins chart and Mon Jardin en Automne are available for digital download at my Etsy shop, as are some of my artworks, oil paintings and watercolours as greetings cards. My family love greetings cards we were sending to one another. I hope you've enjoyed this short while with me, sharing a few of the things that I make, and perhaps you might be inspired to have a go at something that's been included. So if you haven't, please do subscribe and leave a comment if you'd like to. It would be great to have feedback, and I hope to see you again very soon. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.